Tarek here with me. Welcome, Tarek. And Tarek and I know each other for the last 3 years. And I am honestly very honored that Tarek is here. Because Tarek is one of the most known digital nomads in the scene. He is in 2022 chosen as the one of the top 10 digital nomads to follow in the industry. And he has a very inspiring story. I'm gonna sit next to you because maybe I'm blocking your screen. I'm not sure, this is the first time for me sitting like this. But Tarek is the founder of Nomads Giving Back and of Nomads Skillshare. And I have been a brand ambassador for Nomad Giving Back for the last 3 years. And I help them to spread the word about what their organization does and how help you to get involved into social impact. Tarek, welcome here. Yeah, super excited to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to finally meet you. First, before we start, right? So I've seen you, basically I see you every day online. I think if you are a little bit involved in the digital nomad community and you see your face, you see it basically everywhere, and then all the conferences, etc. But you get invited to all these conferences for a reason, and probably you have kind of like a superpower, or something that you're known for. If you could name a superpower, what would that be that you're known for?
Well, first of all, thank you everybody for joining today. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks Michelle and Luca and the whole team. Yeah, this is amazing, Nomads Fest! And thank you to the beautiful venue and Tulum in Mexico. It's so great. I'm so grateful to be in this beautiful country. So your question about being what's my superpower? I would like to think that maybe it's about connecting people. I really love learning about what people are passionate about, who they are, where they're from, their personal journeys. And over the years, I had the opportunity to meet some really inspiring people and people who have really amazing, beautiful dreams. And so I just love to try to do my part in connecting the right people to help those dreams come true.
Thank you so much. You're in the right place with us. Thank you so much. All right, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey? I know already a little bit, and yesterday in the car you told me even more. It's very inspiring for all of us as entrepreneurs, and at the end choosing maybe a different path that you thought at the beginning of your career that you would end up in. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we don't have too much time, so I'll give you the short version. But basically, I was born 42 years ago, and then my parents named me Tarek. And I just found out about 5 years ago, which was 4 years after I became a nomad, that my name means nomad. So I was pretty shocked and pleasantly surprised about the serendipity there. But going back, I kind of had that traditional upbringing where I was born and raised in America. I was fortunate to be born into a beautiful family that was very supportive in the US. And my family's originally from Egypt. And so I did the whole business school thing, ended up with a corporate job in New York City, just 2 months before 9/11, which really kind of impacted the course of my career. Eventually, after about a dozen years of really focusing on my professional growth, at the expense of my personal growth, I realized that something was lacking in my life. I was really craving more connection with like-minded people and meaning, some purpose. And for a while it was doing the thing for me. It was interesting and I was learning a lot, but it wasn't feeling right. I felt like I was swimming upstream. So then eventually a few serendipitous moments happened in my life, and I can say that we can talk afterwards if you want to hear more about that. But it really propelled me to take the leap into the unknown, buy that one-way ticket, become a nomad, and begin my new life. And I was always passionate about social impact, but I really wasn't doing much about it. So I started traveling to countries all over the world and doing volunteer projects in places like Kenya and Zambia and China and Sri Lanka and Bali. And along the way, I fell in love with the nomad movement. All these people facing their fears, chasing down their dreams, curating something, basically you guys. And you guys really inspired me. And I knew I wanted to get into impact. And so I would ask everyone, how are you connecting with the locals where you go? And how are you giving back to the communities? And so many times I hear the same thing. I don't know. But if you figure it out, let me know because I want to do the same thing. You know, so when I heard that enough times, I realized there's this gap, there's this like opportunity, and I really wanted to help mobilize the collective power of the movement, because we're, you know, as cliche as it is, we're really stronger together. And we, at the end of the day, we're a collection of individuals. We're not like one big organization that has a CSR division where they tell you where to do these things. And so that was really the genesis behind creating Nomads Giving Back.
Yeah, we chose also for this topic in Nomad Jungle Fest because we discuss a lot about like business development, how to scale your business, how to grow your business. But indeed, like this is a story that I hear from a lot of people like, hey, I'm building and I'm generating more income and I'm missing that purpose. So that is why we brought in Tarek also today to share about that, because some of you guys are in that stage and some of you are building, but already like in your journey you can think about like how can you have a purpose and how can you give back. We can already, even though if you don't have a flourishing business yet, you can always inspire people. So I'm very thankful that you share the story here. Thank you so much. So us as nomads or as expats, if you move somewhere, right, and you want to give back, or you have the feeling like I want to do something, but what can I do? How can people be involved? Or what are initiatives that they could do?
Great question. You know, that's very core to our mission. We want to solve that question. How do I get back? You know, and so what we did was, to tell you a little bit more the story that leads into the question, what I realized is that it's super important to form collaborations, to really understand what the local challenges are where you are, because every place is different and every community has different challenges. And you know, a lot of people have really good intentions and really want to make a positive impact. And as nomads, we know that we make an impact whether it's positive or negative. So it's important to first start with information, like what are the local challenges, you know, and then secondly, to get inspired. Why should I get involved? Why should I make a difference? And then most importantly, after you have those two, is the empowerment. How can we give back? And so the very first thing we did was we said, okay, well, let's meet and get to know local social impact leaders in various communities. And our focus has been in nomad capitals, like Tulum and Playa del Carmen, where we are, and in places like Bali and Medellin, where I was lucky to live in the last few years, and many other places. But those are some of our main ones. And we built relationships with these nonprofits and social enterprises, and we started bringing people together, foreigners, locals, and we had all different types of events. I think more than 130 over the last 3.5 years. And we just continued to focus on these three themes. Advocacy, which is really about using our voice for social good and raising awareness of the local causes. It goes back to that information point I made. Fundraising, we've done a lot of support of various fundraisers around the world, and volunteering. So we really believe in the power of connection, and volunteering is a beautiful way to really connect with people at a deeper level, where everybody wins. You know, we gain so much from sharing our skills, and in the process we learn from the local communities, and there's so much to learn. So we have a free volunteer matching program. So if anyone here is inspired and wants to contribute their skills, or you know, maybe develop a new skill to a cause that you're passionate about, we can help make that happen with our impact partners. We also are a volunteer-based organization. We have now more than 100 incredible volunteers and ambassadors like Michelle, who have been really supportive of our mission, and together we're all trying to help each other, and especially help local communities.
Yeah, to give you a little bit of an idea, like me as nomad or volunteer, so when I saw you guys online a lot, I was like, wow, I want to be involved, like about 2.5 years ago, I think. And we were in the middle of the pandemic, or the pandemic just started, and you guys came up also like, hey, how can we help local businesses? Because we can't travel, and that's then bad for us, but a lot of local businesses, let's say in Bali or in touristy areas where we hang around, they're affected. They lose business, right? So then I set up a call with Bianca, with his team, and head of partnerships she is, and I asked her like, what can I do? And then she gave me some examples, and sometimes it sounds very theoretical, like volunteer and like massive big projects, but for us it became very pragmatic. What I did then, like basically because I have an audience, I said, okay, I'm going to help you spread the word. So in every escape or retreat, I tell about them. But what I also did is, like, I was at the time in the south of Portugal, in Algarve, and there were small coffee shops that were basically almost bankrupt. And what I did is calling the digital nomads. I'm not even sure if you know it. I don't think you know this story. But I put on Facebook like, hey guys, do you want to co-work in a small cafe? We can, help the local business owner, and we create content and put on Facebook like, hey guys, come and co-work here. So it can be very pragmatic, small things, and also with our social and digital skills mostly, we can, with small things like creating a Facebook page or a beach cleanup or whatever it may be, you can contribute, and they're very happy and very helpful also to help you and give you inspiration. And besides that, like, what is then in it for you? Not only that you give back or feel good, but you have a massive community. And a lot of people from his community joined us at the Nomad Escape, vice versa. I have a beautiful Slack channel. On Instagram they're big and stuff, and I invite you really grab your phone and follow Nomads Giving Back, follow Tarek, follow Nomad Skillshare. It's very inspiring content. But if you travel somewhere, there's mostly Nomads Giving Back ambassadors or volunteers or whatever community members in the locations. So you have already a community there. Basically we discussed a lot of things, but if you look back to entrepreneurship, maybe, like if you look back at your journey since 3.5 years, you went from corporate, you took the leap, you had it all set up and like, okay, I'm gonna become a nomad, I'm gonna set up my own non-profit business even. That is very uncommon. That is not what I hear much. I think, honestly, you're the only one that I've met, and I've met hundreds of people in my journey in the last 3 years. What is the biggest lesson you've learned?
What is the biggest lesson I've learned? So many. I'm learning every day. I'd say a big theme is, it's interesting. I in my past life, I was actually a suit and tie guy, like short hair, which you can tell I'm not anymore, clean shaven and a little bit more mainstream. And it took me a while to find my voice, to find my truth and my confidence, and to really use my voice and to be okay with that. I was really afraid of public speaking a few years ago, and just being convicted in my moral values, that I can speak to them with confidence. And so I'd say that was a big thing for me. Even like the first fundraiser I did this thing called the Bali Hope Ultra. I got really into running marathons when I was running around the world, and I ran an 84-kilometer ultra marathon. Where 13 of us raised 100,000 Australian dollars to put 100 kids through school. Woo. And we did that.
We have applause for that,
It was really beautiful. And the best thing about it was, that's one of the major moments where I realized, through doing something for others, we rise ourselves. We rise by lifting others. And that experience was actually way more beneficial for me than even the kids we raised education for, because it changed my life just as much. And that's where the idea for Nomads Giving Back was conceived, was that particular story. There was a few that built up to it, but that was a major one. So to answer your question, it's been an ongoing learning journey for me to become the man I want to be, and to live the life I imagined, and to, let go of those conditioning effects and those assumptions that I've made my whole life, that I am much clearer about who I am and the values I want to be, and I try to show that by leading through example.
Thank you. And because there's a common thing what I hear from people also sometimes on the Nomad Escape is like, they are starting a business, they don't know where to start, or they have an established business, but they didn't find their real voice yet, what you say, right? What do you actually like? Who are you, and how can you stand in your own power as a person and find your purpose? What helped you to find that voice and the true you?
That's a great question, and that's one of the reasons why I love Nomad Escape and what Michelle and Luca and everyone's building here. It's through experiences. They say that we explore the world to find ourselves, and it's partially true, I think, but in my personal opinion, it's not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And you do that through chasing down these experiences where you're surround yourself with inspiring people. Energies are contagious. So it's whoever you're around, whether it's going to be an office job somewhere, or whether it's going to be nomading around with these great people, that all that energy is going to rub off on you, and the way they think, and their optimism, their confidence, how they see the world. And so for me, it's been chasing these experiences that help me grow personally and professionally. And I would say things like these experiences at Nomad Escape. I've done lots of different types of retreats and reading and exploring and getting off the beaten path, a lot of self-exploration along the way. You know, I think we ultimately explore the world to explore within. And that's been very important for my personal journey, is just getting clear about who I am.
Thank you. Oh. And I'm going to ask a last question, and then maybe you guys have some questions. And it's really also, really unique that he is here and that you can directly ask him questions. He's very busy, so take that moment. But what I've seen, like, you have built like a really strong community and a strong team of volunteers. And it's not something easy to do, like a functioning volunteer team and a community. How did you do that? And how are you structuring it? And what advice would you give if people want to set up something similar?
Yeah, thanks. I think the credit goes to the team. I mean, I set up the vision and made this announcement 3.5 years ago, and I think I just tapped into something that we're all feeling. I'm sure all of you also feel that we're so privileged to be welcomed into these communities around the world, and many of us have come from like just winning the birth lottery, you know. And when I see how there's just so much disparity sometimes in certain places, and I try to think, like, why? Like, why is it that someone is working twice as hard as me and struggling to feed their family, for example? And when I see all these like amazing young nomads on their laptops in cafes, some of them are making 10, 20, 100 times what their waiter is, based on some skills that aren't Harvard PhDs. These are just learning some digital skills. And there's just so much opportunity that we all have received. And yeah, we must have worked hard too, but so are many other people. But back to your question about the community, and I think that we all feel that. And a lot of people along the way that I met through all these events that we've been hosting and advocacy efforts, they just are gravitating towards the mission, and we're co-creating this together. And we're all about, you know, sharing the like empowerment. Like, there's so many people on our team that are making decisions and influencing something that might have been higher level impact than in their normal lives, normal jobs that are paying their salaries. So I think that's it. I think it's just about having shared values and being clear about our mission and vision, and then letting everything sort of organically grow naturally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have one more question, guys, sorry. Because you were talking about, and it's very important, I think, like the digital skills, right? Because it's a lack of exposure to some people. They don't get exposed to the world that we're living in, right? Someone who's living in Bali, for example, is from Bali and is working in a restaurant, or here the people on the property or in a cafe, whatever, they don't even know that it is possible to develop social media skills, copywriting, and maybe they write already good English and they can monetize that. So you build a program that's Nomads Skillshare, and I think that's a really, really cool program that we all can contribute in a way. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So Nomads Giving Back, a lot of what we do is about advocacy and raising awareness about other social causes. And so along the way, we realized we also want to have a direct impact. And, you know, like I use that example of someone in a cafe, the major difference between us ordering a couple cappuccinos that might be a day or even a week's salary for someone that's serving that coffee is skills. So there's often language skills as a common socioeconomic barrier, and then digital skills is the next level. And we all know the impact of the pandemic over the last couple of years has really accelerated the adoption of remote work. So that now there's even, you know, exponentially more opportunities for anyone to make an income to tap into the global economy through digital skills. And a lot of these skills are now offered online. And so our team a year ago launched a new initiative called Nomad Skillshare, where we are all about empowering you to learn the skills to live the life you imagined. And these courses can be for anyone that find that topic interesting, but it's also designed to support local communities. So we're really happy with our Buy One, Give One scholarship program. So for every course that we offer, we give a scholarship to a less privileged student from a less privileged community. And we have courses like how to get your dream online job, how to become a social media manager, how to become a virtual assistant, And now we're launching this marketplace where we're tapping into the power of the collective of nomads by offering other people's courses and doing an arrangement. So we just launched our first partnership course called Solopreneurship. And then, you know, we're very inclusive by making sure that, you know, these courses aren't too expensive, but that's a relative statement. So that's where the scholarships come in. That way, you know, the local communities can really partake and join us in the learning process. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone with a question? Emma. I'm gonna run a bit back and forth with the mic.
Thank you. So I've been involved in volunteering and social things for the past 15 years or so, and I would like to know what is your process when you are considering something to contribute. Like, what do you see in the cause? What makes you say, okay, we should contribute on this or regarding these other things? It would be very useful to know your point of view on this. Thank you.
That's a really good question. So I'm one of those people that, you know, I like to think about what social causes I'm most passionate about. But I'm also, you know, really excited about other people who have other interests and passions as well. I mean, the world is a very complex place with many complex social challenges. And so I think we all have a part to play. The really massive, large nonprofits are really important, but also the really, really small startups are as well. So really, we are very happy to help any way we can with any cause. We like to think of ourselves as the connector, as the prism to reach out to different social causes. Personally, I really like the ones that are innovative, that have unique solutions, like the one you shared with me today about turning plastic into gasoline. Right there, I was like, my mind got really excited. I want you to hear more about this. Yeah, because that's where innovation happens, and that can have exponential impact. I also personally like helping the smaller ones because you can tell that they really need it. I know how it is. We're still, you know, depends on the perspective, but we're still young in our organization. And I know how excited and how inspirational it was for me when we get those small wins early on. And that can make or break someone. I know a lot of people who started an idea, but they couldn't see it through for whatever challenges. So I personally like to see if we can make one actually sustainable through our contributions, and whether it's supporting their raising awareness, getting them volunteers, helping them with their fundraisers. And yeah, that's a great question. Thanks.
Thank you, Emma. Is there anyone else who has a question? I think that's... Oh, Javier.
Is there, my name is Javier, nice to meet you. Is there a criteria that you have in terms of partnering with some of those non-profits? I particularly know some that actually help other countries in South America into how to analyze data, for example, for small regions in some countries, like utility services, blackouts, and how to help institutions or entities. So if there's information about requirements that you need to qualify to be partner, it will be important to know.
Great question. So it was about, do we have criteria for partnerships? We have different types of partnerships, so it depends on what kind of partnership. So for the volunteer matching program, we're very open. As long as they appear legitimate and they apply through our application process on our website, any organization, even a for-profit social enterprise, can apply, and they're very likely to be accepted, and we'll do our best to find them a volunteer. And then we like to partner also with just anyone who's doing anything. I mean, if any of you are doing like some sort of support of a social cause, like the one we talked about this morning, I would love to raise awareness through our social media channels. We have newsletters, we have Facebook groups, we have our own Nomad Skillshare community. And I just think that big problems need collaboration, and all we need to do is see how we can support each other. You know, so much of the noise out there on our social media and the news is big company advertisements, and there's so much money there, and you know, the whole thing is about grabbing our attention these days. And these social impact causes don't quite have those budgets, and sometimes not even that style. So I think it's really important for us in the impact space to support one another. And at the end of the day, that's what I love about it, because I came from a more corporate finance banking world, and there's more of a fixed pie mentality generally, where less for you is more for me. But when it comes to impact, if you want to help the environment and I want to help the environment, then I don't care who does it. I just want it helped, right? So that's the beauty of it. That's why I love the impact space so much. It's all about collaborations.
Thank you. Sorry guys for this.
Sorry. Oh God. It amplifies my terrible voice right now. All right, so I have a question. This might be a very kind of like triggering question a little bit. I think gentrification can be a double-edged sword. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. However, I think we should all be mindful on how this dispersed community has been impacted by the movement of the nomad. How can digital nomads can help lessen the blow to dispersed local communities due to the side effect of gentrification of their movements?
I'm really glad you asked that. I mean, I think about this topic a lot, especially where we are. I hear Tulum as a prime example of the unintended consequences that can happen on the local communities and the local environment about gentrification. And our next speaker, I can't wait to hear, is more involved locally, so we can talk about how it is affecting Tulum. So that's a big reason why Nomads Giving Back and our mission exists, is because we are having an impact with everything we do. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral, but I think when you think about it on an impact on a local community when you're living abroad, it can be much more drastic because, number one, many nomads I know don't pay taxes. So, and we're living long periods of time, and even if it's bouncing from place to place, at the end of the day, taxes is a way that you're supporting the system that's supporting you. If you get robbed and you need to go to the police, or you get in an accident and you need to go to the hospital, who's funding that? And ironically, usually foreigners are making more money than at least many communities in the world that we're nomading in. Because at the end of the day, where do nomads go? They go where there's a high quality of life for a low cost of living, right? So we're benefiting from the lower cost of living. We're contributing to the cost going up because there's demand that's going up. And imagine being in a local community where you want to go to your own beach and you can't afford a place near the beach, you know? So there's so many things that we're not really thinking about on a daily basis that's affecting everything. I mean, so answering your question, I think it's really important for us to be more socially conscious, to be global citizens, to think about the world as if we're not on teams. You know, these borders, in my opinion, are often arbitrary, and they started in certain, like, I'm from the US, you know, and when people are talking about American pride, I'm like, well, where are you from 300 years ago, 500 years ago? So if we start to treat everyone and think of everyone like we're all connected, we're all one, we're global citizens, I think it'll start to shift the way we operate. And it's a real problem. I think that, honestly, if I'm being a realist, gentrification is going to be worse and worse as more people in the wealthier countries live abroad. And this idea of cost arbitrage, I think, is going to drive people more and more, you know, especially as the two big things that were holding remote work and nomads back were governments and big business. And now governments are creating these nomad and remote work visas, more than 25 in the last year, so they're competing for talent. So they used to hold it back by making these laws hard, and now they're saying come. And big businesses, many of them are saying there's no office to come back to. So it's gonna grow exponentially. I would say, if I had to guess, 50 times, maybe 100 times in the next 10 years. What impact is that gonna have on these communities? And that's why I'm so passionate about Nomads Skillshare as well, because if we can be more inclusive of, you know, a lot of us have businesses or work for businesses, and why not hire people that are next to you? Why not bring them along on the journey that everyone is benefiting from this rapid growth of economic value that's being generated from technology and innovation? Let's all share this. There's no reason for this disparity to grow. We can all grow together and live, you know, just better lives.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy that you asked that question, and I think like us as nomads, we need to be very aware and responsible of our behavior in different destinations. What I see a lot, because a lot of people apply for my programs and they really want, for example, the cheapest of the cheapest, like, oh, the housing is too expensive, this and that. And they do that sometimes in front even of local business owners or service providers. Just like in taxis, if I'm with people of the group and say, oh yeah, it's really expensive, and so, but you need to be very aware of how you behave in front of these people, while they maybe ask $1 more, but for them it's like a week salary. You know, so all these small things make them act in a way towards us and not wanting to collaborate, and the other way around. So I think that's a very, like, on a behavioral level, you know, being aware of like how do you act in a foreign community. Yeah, so thank you for sharing about that. Guys, can I ask you for an action point? We need to go further because of the time, but I would like to ask you all, grab your phone, if you have your phone now, and let's support Nomads Giving Back, and follow them on Nomads Giving Back and Nomads Skillshare. And if you have someone in your network or yourself, they're like, hey, I would like to be involved, or whatever it may be, or maybe you just want to share a post about them. It costs us nothing. We share posts about our food in a beautiful beach cafe. You know, we can also share a post or one story about this beautiful initiative, and that you're aware of, like, that we can support in a way as expats. And yeah, reach out to that team. Their community is really amazing. It's very like similar to Nomad Escape, all young professionals traveling around, but then focusing on social impact. Thank you, Tarek. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we put a slide up there. That's our amazing Bali team. We were celebrating our third birthday a few months ago, and we have our contact information up there. There's some, what are they called? QR codes that are that are about. It takes us to your link tree, so you can learn more about how to get involved. And please don't be shy to reach out to me. Instagram, tarek.world, or my name, Tarek Kholoussy on LinkedIn, any way you want to reach out. I love learning about what other people are passionate about and discussing deep questions like what you just asked, and seeing how we can, you know, shape the movement for good. And I really love what all of you are doing, and I can't wait to get to know you better over the next few days. And finally, thank you so much, Michelle. I am so grateful to be here with you, and I really love what you're doing at Nomad Escape. And I'm excited for future collaborations with you. All right.
Give us an applause. Thank you so much. Then we go directly to the next speaker, right, Luca? I need to ask Luca for some backup. But we saw here a whole tribe coming in, and that's Julia Becker, and she brought